Let's get started. I just want to be done, man. I just want to be done with this character. Done with Ascension 10. Ugh. I cannot see myself going through 4 combats and an elite in a row on Regent. And then another elite, and then probably at least one more combat in order to get the latest possible shop. So I think we have to go this way. I'm also definitively either sick or ill, and I don't know what it is. I try to stay energetic and positive, but I probably shouldn't have gone to the movie yesterday, if I'm being honest. It was a packed theater. I should have just waited. But like, I already had a day out of it, you know. I kind of just said, let's just keep going. And I'm glad I did, because it was a good movie. But I'm surprised Kyla got a collab technically with the movie that I just watched. It's a collab through a collab, so I don't know if that counts as a collab, you know? You could say, well, if it's... Hello. You could say, well, if it's, you know, Kyla collaborating with, I don't know, let's say Raura collaborating with Crony, then they're all in a collab together. And I say, okay, yeah, that's true. But then does Kyla collaborating with PUBG Mobile collaborating with Marvel's Spider-Man Brand New Day? I just realized that's the first one that doesn't have home in the name. No, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm just tired and a bit sick. I'm just talking about how I went to see a movie even though I'm sick. I saw it last night. I literally get out of the movie and like 3 minutes later she tweets that she's having a collaboration with PUBG Mobile, which is having a collaboration with Spider-Man, the movie that I just watched. And my brain is trying to wrap its head around if that counts as Kyla collaborating with Spider-Man, you know? Does that count? Because, like... Spider-Man didn't reach it. Like, Marvel didn't reach out to Kyla. Spider-Man didn't reach out to Kyla. But PUBG Mobile, they reached out to PUBG Mobile, and PUBG Mobile reached out to Kyla. So I'm trying to say, like, does the transitive property apply here? Yeah, I saw it yesterday. It was really good. I'm not going to spoil anything. But I already tweeted this, so I'm sorry that you have already heard my rant about which comics I like and don't like, but I really like the movie partially because of the comics that I like. So infer from that what you will. I think you were here when I was talking about the comics that I enjoy. But yeah, Spider-Man came out. It's good. I was thinking to myself, I don't know if she saw the movie. It kind of seemed like she implied that she did. But I'm not sure if she saw the movie or not at the end of the day. And I want to know from her... Yeah, she was still wearing the Naruto outfit in the whole stream. I want to know from her, first of all, if she saw the movie, and second of all, if she saw any of the 3 movies that lead up to it, because I feel like she might have missed out, and I don't want to assume. I don't like being presumptuous, but I think she watched a sequel without watching the prequel. The prequels. The only one that's technically relevant is the most recent one, but you can't really watch the most recent one without watching the first 2. You could probably skip this. No, you can't skip the second one because that's when he gets revealed to the world. So you really have to watch all the Holland movies, and I'm not gonna lie, you have to watch Raimi's Spider-Man 1 and 2, 3 if you want, and you have to watch Garfield's Spider-Man, at least one of them. So in order to watch the Spider-Man movie that just came out and fully understand it, you have to know what the Avengers are, because they mentioned the Avengers a couple times. You have to have seen Thunderbolt, and that's like the problem with these shared universe movies. I love them, I really actually do. Like, I'm not like an MCU fanboy, but I do like the idea of cinematic universes if they work well together. Because I treat them like one big TV show, but that's the problem. You have to treat it like one big TV show. You know? And if you don't watch them all in order, then suddenly you're literally decades behind trying to understand, like, oh, why are they talking about the Battle of New York? Well, that was the Avengers battle, you know? And then Spider-Man 3 acts as a crossover, essentially, if we're putting it in TV show terms. It acts as a crossover between the Spider-Man movies from the 2000s and the 2010s with the Spider-Man movies of the 2020s. So now we're in a puzzle where we want to watch the most recent Spider-Man movie. In order to fully get it, you have to go back in time and watch Captain America, Thor. They intentionally made what's his face not relevant. They intentionally made the Hulk movie not relevant, so you're fine there. We have to go back in time and watch Captain America, Thor, Iron Man, Captain America 2, Thor 2, Iron Man 2. No, hold on. Iron Man 2, Avengers, Thor 2, something like that in that order. I don't remember the order. You have to go back and watch the entire Phase 1, the entire Phase 2, the entire Phase 3, and the Sam Raimi movies, and the Andrew Garfield movies. Like... And I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, did Kyla watch all that, or did she watch it at all? And if she did she even understand what was going on? Because the entire motivations of this movie are based on what happened in the last movie, and if you know the ending of the last movie, then you know why that is, without having watched the next movie. But then... is it worth it, though? Like, the question really becomes, are we happy enough with the state of the MCU that we're willing to go and watch a decent movie like Thunderbolts just so we can watch a great movie like Spider-Man? You know? Or even watch a terrible movie like Amazing Spider-Man 2 so we can watch a good movie, like an amazing movie, in fact, like Spider-Man No Way Home or whatever it was the third one was called. Far From Home. I somewhat agree with you, but I'm making an effort, and I will say I've found some stuff that I've enjoyed in Phase 4, like in the post-endgame phase. I think WandaVision, even if you're not a Marvel fan, even if you've never seen any Marvel movies, is a show worth watching. Because they give you enough context within the show that you don't need any more, you know? I think that I'm enjoying Loki, but that one requires setup, I guess. Well, actually, no, because it just, like we're assuming that you've seen everything up to Endgame, minus maybe, like, the Ant-Man movies. I've never seen the Ant-Man movies, and I'm doing perfectly fine. None of them. I've literally never watched a single Scott Lang, or whatever the hell his name is, movie. So, my YouTube froze on my phone. I don't know about Moon Knight. I haven't seen it. I wouldn't call myself a fan of Moon Knight the comics, but I heard he's not accurate to the comics, and that does irk me a bit. WandaVision is worth it, though. Thunderbolts I've heard is good, so it is next on my list. I just did. But so there's like three main problems with the current phase, and it's why everyone's saying that they're washed. I don't actually think it's because like the Marvel Cinematic Universe creators or whatever are washed. I think it's like I do think they have the talent still in the MCU production facilities or whatever you want to call it to make a good phase. But they have a couple problems. Their first problem is Brie Larson. Just her. I'm sorry. It's the truth. I don't know what else to say, man. Brie Larson is a scourge upon the MCU. She's Captain Marvel. So Captain Marvel, and you'll notice the closer that you are thematically or narrativistically to Captain Marvel, the worse your movie is. Go look at the Eternals. It flopped. Go look at Doctor Strange and the Mountain of Madness or whatever it was called. Multiverse of Madness. That one was also, excuse me, pretty bad. And I did watch Doctor Strange, and I only watched it because they have a cameo from Charles Xavier, and I really wanted to see that cameo, and then it turned out the cameo wasn't worth it. And Multiverse of Madness completely ruined the ending of WandaVision, which actively pissed me off. I was so upset about that. Well, do you know why they didn't bring back Kang? I don't know the exact reason, but the actor that played Kang got in a lot of moral trouble. I don't remember if it was the P word or if it was the R word, but he got in a lot of trouble, and they couldn't, like, they don't like recasting, so they're like, well, what the hell do we do? I guess we just, yeah, okay, you know. But, like, current phase Marvel does have the talent. And we see that with Spider-Man. We see that with, apparently Thunderbolts. Again, I haven't seen it. And we definitely see that with some of the shows. But the problem is that it's now, like, setting up a world that needs to be tangential to the world we already have, you know? They need to fully pass the baton, and it's hard to do that, so then they just give up and say everybody's coming back for Avengers Doomsday, you know? Steve Rogers will return in Avengers Doomsday. Oh, okay. You had that goodbye for nothing then? I'm sure it's a multiverse, Steve. I'm sure it's something else. And if it works, then it works. You know, they bring back characters from the dead all the time in the comics. Things are getting a little more comic-y, for better or for worse, you decide. Ryan Gosling, new Ghost Rider, yeah. The Gosling edits are gonna be crazy. I mean, I love how people, like, do the literally me for Ryan Gosling, but, like, Ryan Gosling is a successful, charismatic guy. Like, they just kind of typecast him as a mopey loner, and I find that hilarious. But yeah, it's like they have the talent and skill to do decent movies, at least. Maybe even good movies. But they lack in I'm just gonna go here. I don't think 145 is enough for a shop. But they lack in consistent setup because they had to so, like, first of all, they lack in Brie Larson because anything closer to Brie Larson just, like, is bad. Like, full stop, it's just getting worse. Or bad and getting worse. Which also sucks because they gave the best post-credit scene of the phase so far to the Marvels. And nobody liked the Marvels, and the Marvels movie flopped. And if you, like, ever take a second to just, like, go watch the post-credit scene, you're like, wait, this was in The Marvels? The literal worst movie in the MCU right now? I don't know if that's true because I haven't seen it, but I did see Captain Marvel, and I thought that was the worst. But they had to, like, refocus because the plotline with Kang doesn't work anymore. The plotline with the Eternals, they're not doing anymore because the Eternals flopped so hard. Again, Brie Larson. I can't stress this enough. It's freaking Brie Larson, man. And then after that, sorry, I'm thinking about this combat at the same time. It's also kind of soft confirmed that, like, this is a soft reboot of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is fine. That's what you're supposed to do in this situation when you have, you know, a decade-long movie series. You're supposed to at least, at some point, bring in a new generation, bring in, etc. But that transition period is hard because now we have to take people that have been watching for Chris Hemsworth, that have been watching for Chris Evans, a lot of Chris's, for Mark Ruffalo, for Scarlett Johansson, for whoever Hawkeye is. Like, these people that are coming back for the Avengers, right? Look at the Avengers lineup from the 2012 movie or whatever it was. All of them are gone now. Like, they have to set up an entirely new narrative in this world without them. And 4.5, or like problem 4.5, is Sony still has the film rights to Spider-Man. You'll notice that the opening credits say Sony and Columbia Pictures and not Disney or Marvel Studios. They do say Marvel. I think they do actually say Marvel Studios, but, like, they don't. It's not a Disney movie. The rest of the MCU are Disney movies, right? But the Marvel logo does not a Disney movie make. And in fact, every Spider-Man movie is still owned and made by Sony, which causes its own problem because they wanted to do a narrative. They did this in the second Spider-Man movie. They wanted to do a narrative where, in fact, they did it in both the first and second Spider-Man movie, where Peter Parker is sort of taking up the mantle of Iron Man, and they can't because Sony doesn't want to sell them Spider-Man, you know? Like, Sony is stingy and grubby, but also Disney is a literal post-apocalyptic dystopian megacorporation that's, like, really terrifying if you think about it for more than a few minutes. So I could have powered a device. Oops. So we have, like, as like I said, it's sort of a half thing. We have Sony not giving them the rights to Spider-Man, which makes it so that their plans with Spider-Man are falling through too. So how exactly do they make a consistent world when even outside forces, like, you know, Kang's actor, like Sony with Spider-Man, like Brie Larson, dude, I'm sorry, I can't rant about her. I can't, not on stream. I would get killed. I would get taken out back and shot if I ranted about Brie Larson on stream. And I don't want to be old Yellard in my lifetime. I would be where the word Redfern grows did. I would allow that to happen to myself. It would be kind of funny. Yeah. Well, I don't even think anything I would say is particularly, like, intense. I'm not into the cultural civil war we have here in America, right? That's not something I'm interested in. But a lot of what she does for the cultural civil war. And I resent her not for her beliefs, but for her impact on actual media stuff that she works on because of culture politics, if that makes any sense. I'm trying to be very careful with my words. So because she's the type of person to push onto the MCU or anything she's working on this perspective, I'm not a fan of her movies, and I will leave it at that. So the MCU has, like, a lot to fill in. Like, a lot to fill in, really. And a lot of it is, you know, we grew up with... I said nobody in the original Avengers lineup is around, and that's not true. We still have Thor, I guess. But the Thor movie sucked. And people are noticing Marvelisms, and Marvel has to adapt, and they are adapting. Like, the Spider-Man movie does not feel quippy for quippy's sakes. It feels quippy because it's Spider-Man, you know? The shows really don't... I mean, okay, the shows I've seen, WandaVision does not feel like Marvel. That's why I think it's, like, actually a genuinely good show that you can watch without being an MCU guy or gal. But yeah, this discussion started because I want to know if Miss Kowalskia has seen the Spider-Man movie, or if she was just conscripted to hold on, conscripted to semi-advertise the movie. I think she did advertise the movie, but I mean, it's not like she advertised Naruto, you know. I'm trying to think, like, what legally that would entail. I'm still technically going into law if esports doesn't work out. So I'm like trying to pull up memories from my contract law class to see if a contract like this would normally entail. I don't think my class really covered anything like it though. But like, would a contract for a stream, like an advertisement stream, generally include, like, in the case where your game is advertising a movie, and your game contracts an advertisement stream with a streamer, would that streamer have, like, by contract most of the time, have to follow the movie, or a contract that advertise the movie? It's a really long-winded way of asking a very simple question. I'm sorry. I know that seems like a waste, but I don't want to die. I guess I should have struck first, because there's a chance that I don't draw. Well, I get enough. Okay. Proceed. That's not good. I could have redone that combat, but I don't like how much I rely on redos for this character. My eye itches. Partially because I think I'm actually literally sick and need to go to the doctor. Okay, we're gonna go this way because I don't want to be forced into two shops, you know. You think that's overkill? You think that block is overkill? Oh, oh, oh. Kaela. Kaela. Oh, oh, oh. I think we just take the hidden cache, because it fits with most archetypes. We're trying to not narrow our potential deck options that we build towards. We have 400 gold, but we're still at the mercy of whatever the shop gives us, you know? So we still need to... Like, we don't just want to jam an archetype and then lose. Because that's what I've been doing, I think. We take cards that are just generally good. Like, I want to, man. I want to. But I want to just... Let's just do twice. Thrice. Thrice is good. Stop. Thrice is fine. Yeah, I would have just died right here. Excuse me. I can take a guiding star. Alright. Lock us in. What have we got? How does it all suck? Okay. That's not good. Let's think. Relics are good. Regen potion is good. 3 attacks in a turn for 4 block isn't great. Gorget is good. Ardoit. Ardoit. I don't know how you say this. I'll ask Yamabro someday. This, at least, gives 2 cards that I want. Let's do a third. Wait. Let's do this. Yeah. Then we can take a glow. 'Cause why not? We drink this. Oh. I technically did that out of order. I missed out on 1 point of damage. Wow. This, not looking too great. Oh, come on. I don't think I got this one. I don't think I can get this one. But I suppose there's a chance, so I gotta keep going. 4 HP and a dream. I know I only have 94 gold, but this is absolutely the safer path. There's a chance that I get something decent. Bum, 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 bow, bow. Wow, 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 wow. Has it always played that noise, or have I just had my headphones off every time it's played that noise? It's kind of funny if that's true. Boom! 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 Look at that, he's almost dead. I don't have any win conditions. For HP and a dream. For HP and a dream. For HP and a dream. This is a nightmare. I am in nightmare mode. What are you saying hey for? I don't like regent. I want to get out of here. Actually, okay. Question for you, ma'am. I was thinking about this earlier. Did you see the Spider-Man movie? Or not? Alright, new run. Because I was thinking to myself, wait, this girl doesn't see movies, like, ever. So, and then I was thinking about the... Because I'm sure the way, I mean, you obviously don't talk about contracts, like, that's not allowed, right? But I would assume that the way that the PUBG contract work is that they got a hold of you, and that, like, I don't know if they would, like, ask to advertise for the movie. I do think it was a really good movie, so I'm glad that you said go watch the movie at the end. But, like, I was thinking to myself, like, okay, I don't know if Kyla actually... You don't understanding? Okay, no worries, no worries. How are you? How's your day? How's your homework going? These all suck. Okay. You know it's good. I don't, like, okay, so obviously I'm not allowed to know the nature of these contracts, so don't mention anything, but my assumption based on my limited knowledge of contract law is that the creators reached out and probably said, you know, you have to say certain things, certain, like, not like exact scripts, but they have, you know, say, make sure to go download PUBG at this link and blah, blah, blah. But then my thought was, I don't know if, because, like, okay, so trust me, this is relevant. if you are collaborating with Raura, it's relevant, I promise. If you're collaborating with Raura, and Raura is collaborating with Crony, then you are also collaborating with Crony. So does that mean that Kyla Kowalskia collaborating with PUBG Mobile, who is collaborating with Marvel Studios, does that mean Kyla collaborated with Marvel Studios? And again, don't answer, please. Like that's not a Kyla answer. You don't have to. But that was like the thought. Where does the transitive property work in this situation as well? And if so, does that mean that I technically, by watching the movie yesterday, technically my ticket money that went to the theater, and then their portion that went to the Marvel Studios, and then their portion that went to PUBG, and then their portion that went to Kyla Kowalskia, does that mean that I technically supported Kyla Kowalskia through a string of like 5 different individual legal entities? That was the thought process. So am I technically supporting Kyla by watching the Spider-Man movie? That's where my brain went. Anyway. Because I think by definition, yes. But then that also assumes that, like, me, I don't know, paying taxes means that I'm technically supporting the post office, which means that I'm technically supporting the people that work for the post. Like it's this... At what point does my money no longer matter? I say money, but I mean that in, like, a legal, economic jumble. I'll take spoils. I don't know if we can take this elite. Maybe. No, but I swear, I walk out of the theater. It's 12:30 in the morning, so it's midnight. And I see, about 3 minutes after I've walked out of the theater, a notification on Twitter. And it's a certain Kyla Kowalskia advertising for not just the PUBG, but for a game, or the collaboration with the movie that I had literally just seen. Which is like the most surreal experience I've ever had with Twitter. Is that the right way to say it? Oh, I think I do. I have an overwhelmingly likely chance of drawing either Spoils or Sovereign Blade, both of which win me the combat. Okay, well. Don't trust statistics. Statistics will ruin your life someday. That's how gambling works. That's how people lose money at gambling. Even though, so fun fact, at the casino, I have friends who live in Vegas, so I go there frequently, to the casino. At the casino, what am I saying? At the casino, there's only one game in most casinos that is actually favored towards the player if you know the strategies. And I've mentioned this, it's... Okay, hold on, you're watching me, you get an ad, YouTube get money with that ad, YouTube pay Kyla with that. I don't think they pay Kyla. They don't pay her. I know for a fact they don't pay her for ad time. Like, I know that they pay her, like, but I don't think that they just, like, give her a salary, you know? So what it is if you're watching an ad for her, then, or, like, on her channel, I mean, not for her, but, like, if you're watching her and you get an ad, then that ad money does go to her, and she can see it in her analytics. I don't have analytics I am not monetized, so no. That is not true. Now, what you can do, you got to do a little bit of a loop-de-loop here. So think about this for a second. Your money goes to the advertiser, or rather, it goes to YouTube to the advertiser, right? But it goes to YouTube through my channel, and my channel's not monetized, so there's absolutely no connection to Kyla here. But your money going to YouTube, going to the advertiser, loops around up here so that the advertiser, with that engagement, because you're now somebody who watched, right? You are now somebody who, like, you're a view on their ad, which essentially is a metric that matters. So you being a view on their ad gives them so now we're internal, right? Gives them the ability, or rather gives them increased revenue allocation, etc., from their like marketing managers, who then say that they can increase ad space or increase ad time or make a new ad or whatever. But basically, your view counts towards their company's metrics, which like literally speaking increases their, I mean, it gives them money too, but it increases their marketing budget essentially, because it's directly tied to how much their ad makes, which allows them to put more R&D into future ads, which allows them to make more ads, which then they put onto Kyla's channel through YouTube, which then she gets money from people who get ad money by watching her. So through that roundabout way, where you do a loop-de-loop, it's like a roller coaster where you go up and then you do a loop-de-loop up in the inside of that company that you get an ad for. That goes back down to Kyla, and in that way, yes, you are directly supporting Kyla indirectly through this massive chain. How far does Blade Build go? Act 2. Act 2 boss. Unless you're asking how mine went. Which is a different answer. Mine, I don't know. Blade needs help to get past Act 2 boss. Oh, this isn't an exploit at all. If you want to go look at like people who have successfully exploited the YouTube ad system, check out the Spiffing Brit. He's done some really interesting... He's the guy that does, like, tries to break games with, not glitches, exploits. I don't know, man. My brain is just tired. Really, I should be, like, resting. Instead, I'm doing this. I want to be done today. I want to be done with this today. That's like a soft goal of the stream, but let's be honest, it's not going to happen. So, to answer the Sovereign Blade question, it needs a lot of help to get past Act 2. You need the replay one. Basically, you need the rare Sovereign Blade stuff, and if you don't get the rare Sovereign Blade stuff, then you have to do like a soft pivot into like ramp or something. Luckily, one of the cards you also need is this one, the Summon Forth. So I do have it. Actually, okay. I don't know if she is, but is Kyla still here? I have a question that I've completely forgot I meant to ask. And if she's not, that's fine. We are back. Okay. We back. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I just have to restart the router sometimes. Hold on. Yes, because I was going to go to the pharmacy. I think they close at 1:30 on weekends. It's okay. Sorry about that. Okay. Yeah, I did have a... But it's fine. I had a question, but I don't want to, I have to relaunch the game. Because I closed Steam, and that closed the game. I hit continue. Okay. Are we back on the... I'm just going to open... I also forgot to move this up. Sorry. Okay. Wait. No. I think we can do this. Just make it smaller, right? Like that. Okay. But yeah, I did have one. It's about... It's relating to League. I don't wanna say it until I get the chance, you know. And I'm not hold on. Horrendously. I don't have an air conditioner in my basement room, so we just kind of have 10 fans blowing at once. Sorry, I did that wrong. But yeah, like I don't want to force anyone to be here. That's what I'm afraid I would look like if I said, no, wait, stay, to anybody. I'm just glad people drop by. Boom. It's all about how I think other people see me as opposed to how actually other people see me, because obviously I don't actually think anybody like feels trapped, but I'm like afraid that if I, for example, start to have a conversation with somebody then I'm like, in my mind, I'm afraid that I'm like trapping them in the conversation. You know, that's how anxiety works. So anytime I'm talking to literally anybody about literally anything, the only stuff going through my head is, what if they're trying to leave, like, literally right now, and you're not letting them leave right now? You know what I mean? Or am I just crazy? Crazy, I was crazy once. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, I'm trapping you. It's over. You will never escape my stream chat. I don't know if I like this run, honestly. I like this run a lot better with parry. I can soft guarantee that I'll have this upgraded starting hand against the elite. So let's try it. It's a soft guarantee because it's not a hard guarantee. These things can be anything. Yeah, well, such as that, you know? Kind of, yeah. They are talking about plants. Oh, I didn't realize I had lethal. I wasn't paying attention. What the hell? Is that F2? That is F2. That's so funny. I didn't know that this was a thing you could do. I hate regent. That's a good feedback, though, right? That's viable. Yeah, that's my aunt. Are there other F key buttons? No. Just that one, I guess. We need to do this. I'm sorry, it needs to happen. We need to try this. If we don't, then we're just... Ah! Fuck me. How? I want to do that now because I want to try and have sword in hand as much as possible. Perfect. You proud of me now, guys? So I'm not. No chance in hell I am. That kind of works, but you fall to things like... I mean, even just looking at the bosses, right? You would falter to... Hold on. You would falter to the lizard boss of Act 3. You would falter to... the diamond flying guy, kind of. That's why the best block card in a sword build is Parry, the platypus. Because it doesn't... Wait, did I just... I did that out of order. That's okay. We just have to play a little more intelligently sometimes. And never get punished. The way that sword most often works is either you copy the sword, you replay the sword, or you have summon forth. One way that you can guarantee that is, I know there's 2 cards in my deck, and that's when it's, like, when you have less cards in your deck, it's better to play the sword than if you have more cards in your deck, because if you have more cards in your deck, you're not likely to, in fact, you can't draw into the sword. But if you have less cards into the deck, then you just saw there that I was incredibly likely to draw either the sword or summon forth to get the sword. But the plan is that you want to play the sword a lot. Because just, like, this is linear scaling, right? Linear scaling means every time you play this card, it gets 11. So per card, it's going up by a number. And that number is usually somewhere between, like, 3 and, like, 8 on a base card, and then, like, 5 and, I guess, 11 on an upgraded card. But it's essentially linear scaling. Like, it'll be better sometimes, worse other times, but at the end of the day, your sword is increasing by a high single-digit or very low double-digit number every card that you play. But that gets exponentially scaled when you, say, add replay to it. Suddenly, when it has replay, that's not Forge 11 anymore, that's Forge 22, right? And then if we were to just have value to it, not just damage, but, you know, parry, adding the parry is 10 block, but replay is now 20 block, right? And whenever you're upgrading a card, you want to look at things like that as well. You want to look for cards that don't just increase a number by a little bit, because again, like, big example, this card doesn't give you an extra vulnerable, so it's actually pretty bad to upgrade. All it does is increase in damage by 4. If it gave you an extra vulnerable, that's not just 1 but 2 turns of 50% extra damage, which gets compounded by, 50% extra damage turns, I think this rounds up, so it would turn into 6 more damage, essentially a Forge 17 instead of a Forge 11. And the weak, with 25% less damage from attacks, turns this from 10 into 12.5, or 13, I think, because the way that it rounds into that much block every time you play it. So you want cards that compound exponentially off of each other, and that's why I have so much problem with Regent, because in Ironclad, let's take a look at Ironclad for a second. His archetypes include Vulnerable, which increases damage by a percentage, right? 1.5x. Strength, which increases your damage by, 1 per instance of damage. And multi-hit attacks. So if you have Setup Strike, right? Let's just look at this combo of Setup Strike, Twin Strike, and Thunderclap, right? Or even just these three, because they're right next to each other. Setup Strike, Sword Boomerang, Thunderclap. Sword Boomerang does 9 damage, right? Setup Strike does 7 damage, and this does 4 damage. So all together, that should be exactly 20 damage. Except it's more. Because you have Setup Strike, 7 plus 2, so now this is doing 5 damage 3 times, and this is doing 6 damage to all enemies. And all enemies means that you're doing extra damage as well, but... So, for example, if it's a single target enemy, you Thunderclap first. If it's a multi-target enemy, you Setup Strike first. We're going to assume it's just one enemy. You Thunderclap, you deal 4 and apply Vulnerable. This 7 becomes a 10, I think. If it's 9, sorry, then we're down by 1. Shouldn't matter. But this Thunderclap does 4 damage, which turns this into 9 damage, and suddenly we're doing 13 damage. And then it gives you 2 strength, which turns these into 5 times 3, which get boosted 50%. So it's doing 8 times 3. And 8 times 3 is 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and 24 damage. So this one Sword Boomerang, just with these 3 cards, is now doing more damage than the individual damage values off of each of these 3 cards. If you play that in a completely different order, say Sword Boomerang, Thunderclap, Setup Strike, it would be a lot weaker. So Ironclad is easy because everything compounds off of each other, because the Vulnerable is one archetype. Self-Pain is another archetype. All of these things include or increase your strength. You have, you have Fight Me, but you have Dominate, increases your strength based on Vulnerable. You have Rupture, which increases your strength based on damage that you take on your turn. Inflame's alright as well, but... and then you have these big multi-hit attacks. So this doing 2 damage to all enemies 4 times is really doing something like 200 damage in a late game build on one card. And you'd think, okay, that's pretty obvious, but then the problem becomes like, okay, how do we solve for Regent? Because he scales with strength and vuln and multi-hit attacks, all of which he has. Silent has something very similar. They technically have vuln, but they don't have vuln synergies, but they have spam attack builds. So if you get strength from relics and stuff, they get stronger. For example, like accuracy, it makes all your shivs do 4 extra damage. You add that 4 extra damage to all of those shivs that you play, and suddenly it's not just, if there's 3 shivs in your exhaust pile, and that's doing 12 damage, but now you add an extra 4, so that's doing an extra 12 damage, that's 24 damage, right? And then you add on top of that, the strength, like the 3 strength from the Sword of Jade, and that's doing an extra 9 damage on top of all that. And that's how you scale there. With this one, you generally scale through combos off of each other, although you can get some really strong attacks like you saw me do when I won A10 on this. But generally how I've won on Necro in the past has been combos with Severance, Capture Spirit, Cleanse. Cleanse just removes a card from the deck, thinning the deck, making it easier. And then like a secondary win condition. The secondary win condition can literally just be whatever that power is. Haunt. But it could also be, you know, Doom. It could be Osty attacks, whatever. But you're comboing with the souls more often than not. He's got a Defect has a couple of them, including, you know, like the 0-cost attack builds, which all scale off of each other, and strength and whatever else. And this one you generally try to get a lot of card draw so that because you could spend the mana on the card draw when all of your cards are free, right? So you can you get 3 mana per turn, but if my entire deck was nothing but claws, then each claw is essentially 1 mana or 3 mana, or it doesn't really matter. Like if I play 5 claws in a turn, then those claws are each worth exactly 3/5 of a mana, right? So you want card draw so that you can say, okay, well, I'm going to claw 4 times. I'm going to play my card draw, claw another however many times you draw 4 cards, you know, assuming you get a perfect deck. This is really hard to do. But if you had 4 claws and then a scrape, and then you play the 4 claws and then you play the scrape, then you probably draw another 4 claws or whatever it happens to be, and then you play those again, and yeah. So you want card draw in the 0-cost build, or you can get the Focus, which acts as strength for the orbs. There's something there. There's something off of Tempest, Thunder, Storm, not so much Storm, and then effects like Shatter or effects like Voltaic. And you can, again, you're trying not to just scale linearly most of the time. And so when we go to Sword Build, the reason Sword Build is so easy compared to the others is because it's the easiest exponential scaling, but it's not out of control exponential scaling, which makes it a little weaker. I think his best deck in Regent is actually the Star Spam one, where you get a shit ton of stars, especially if you get certain Act 2 boss relics, which I didn't get. But, I mean, this one is technically one of them where you get 5 stars. There's another one you can get in Act 2 that gives you, like, a special power that only you can get from Act 2, which every time you play a card, you get a star. And you just get a shit ton of stars, like, as many as possible, and then you play something like Stardust. And then we saw me do really well with Stardust combined with Vigor as well. Because Vigor as an effect is essentially like Strength, but only on your next attack, but it counts for every hit of the attack. So this one saying gain 2 Vigor or 3 Vigor or whatever it is actually giving me 2 for each hit of the multi-hit attack of this. So if I have 20 stars, which is a pretty weak Stardust, but just assume I have 20 stars, that's doing 100 damage, but if I have 2 Vigor, that's adding an extra 40 damage, and now I'm doing 140 damage as opposed to just 100. Anyway, I'm going to go use the restroom before we come back, and then we can figure out what I actually want to do. Sometimes I feel like I need to just take Gear Glass, or like any of the glasses from here, and just play them instead. Like, play that class instead, because I can't, like, Regent sucks. I hate him. Okay. Let's play. So the only way to get to either of these is to go through a gauntlet followed by an elite. I could also just desperately hope. Welcome, thank you. I could also just desperately hope that one of these has a shop, you know? If you get enough parry, then the entire mid-game, like Act 2, becomes... like, try to get as many swords and cosmic indifferences and... or, sorry, forge cosmic indifference and summon forth as you possibly can. Technically, Spoils helps with that as well, but I don't think I want it right now. I think I do want Convergence. Maybe. No, I think Convergence is a little... Let's take the Photon Cut. It's actually not bad. Okay. What did I say? I'm in hell. Oh, you know what they say. You win some, you lose some, and sometimes you just want to scream and pull your hair out. I hate regent, I hate regent, I hate regent, I hate regent, I hate regent. What do we want to try today? We have on the selection block Takis Extreme Lime. Which I'm holding up for an awkward amount of time. I didn't realize. Hold on. So Takis Extreme Lime. Takis Jalapeno. Doritos Dinamita Spicy Cool Ranch. I'm saying it in like my white voice, but like it is Dinamita. Takis con limón. Y que sigue tenemos Doritos Late Night con Hot Honey Pizza. Hot Honey Pizza Flavored. Flavored. Ya pues entonces. Aquí tenemos 2 Doritos y 2 de Takis. Y ya. ¿Qué elegimos? ¿Qué vamos a elegir? Los Takis de limón, los Takis de jalapeño, los Takis de pizza o los Takis de Spicy Cool Ranch. No. Takis de limón, Takis de jalapeño, Doritos de Cool Ranch Spicy y Doritos de pizza. ¿Qué los vamos a elegir? ¿Para qué? Oh, papá. Con 12 block. Qué bueno. 2 strike. La estrella que se cayó. Estrella cayendo. Ahí está. Tenemos 6 estrellas y nada que hacer con ellos. Estrella cayendo. Pulso astral. Convergencia. I don't know. A veces hay un truco que puedes hacer en español. Cuando quieres hablar en el español, pero no sabes la palabra, solamente necesitas saber como las palabras construidas, como gramáticas, como y, yo, y... Yeah. Las palabras gramáticas, ¿ya? Y necesitas saber la gramática también. Pero después de eso puedes usualmente decir la palabra en inglés con un acento en español y se sirve bien. Entonces sí, ¿qué puedo hacer? Por ejemplo, no sé cómo se dice astropulse, pero sí puedo decir, por ejemplo, pulso astral. Si digo pulso astral, pienso que va a ser como se dice en español. Entonces si voy a Google Translate español, desde inglés, astral pulse, y ya pues, pulso astral. No sabía. Yo no sabía. Pero sí es pulso astral. Qué bueno. Qué buenísimo. I was just saying, there's a trick you can do in Spanish when you're trying to learn Spanish. From English, at least. 9 times out of 10, so long as you know like the grammatical words, like the words that like make up the grammatical structure, like the ands and the pronouns like me and you and her and him, and so long as you can formulate a sentence grammatically, which is pretty easy. It's the same as English. You just need to swap the order of adjectives. But so long as you can do all that you need to do to speak Spanish, and I'm not making this up, 9 times out of 10, you could just say the words in Spanish. Or not in Spanish, sorry. You could just say the words in English in a Mexican accent, or a Spanish accent, I should say. So when I don't know the words for astral and pulse, right? So I'm trying to translate astral pulse, and I don't know the words. So to prove this, I went to Google Translate and I typed in astral pulse, and I was saying pulso astral. You just add an O at the end to pulse, and astral, I know that they have words that work like that, astral. So I just said, I don't know, pulso astral, and guess what? Right there, pulso astral. Can you even see that on the screen? Let's find out. Yeah, if I... Yeah. So, you know, I'm kind of the best. I tested out this theory on my coworker back when I had a job. And, she seemed to not notice until I told her what I was doing. Just literally, if I don't know the word, I say it in English with a Mexican accent, and it works most of the time. Part of that is because even if you fail, even if you don't get the word, because you don't actually get the word most of the time, what actually happens is if you don't hit the right word, you're saying it in English to somebody that probably has heard it in English before, especially if it's a word relating to what you're talking about. Big example. If I'm at work at a deli, I don't work at the deli anymore, but if I'm working at a deli and I say, I don't know how to say the word sandwich. I do, but let's just say I don't know how to say the word sandwich. Well, I go up to her and I say, ¿Me puede pasar el sandwich? Can you pass me the sandwich? And turns out sandwich is a word. But if I don't know, then I can say, but if like it's a different word, like for example, chicken tenders, los chicken tenders. Well, she knows what chicken tenders are because she works there and she makes chicken tenders every single day. So I could say, me puede pasar los chicken tenders, and she passes me the chicken tenders. And then she might correct me and say, son pollos tenders, or tenders de pollo. I don't know what tenders is even now, but los strips de pollo or something. Why did I do that? Oh yeah, I'm healing. So yeah, I mean, if you're talking to someone, it's likely that you're talking about something that they probably know about. It got a little more difficult when I was trying to explain the MCU to my coworker and she didn't know what comics were, you know? Like, comics. She didn't know what comics were. So yeah. I think you could do that in Indonesian too. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty damn sure I could just say, like, I'm pretty damn sure I can just say, like if I don't know what I'm saying, I could just say the word in English, and y'all over in Indonesia land will either correct me because you know what word I'm trying to say, or I will have just landed on the word because there's a lot of borrowed words in Indonesian. Am I wrong? In fact, I mean, it's no secret I'm learning Indonesian. A lot of my Duolingo lately has been, like, about travel. And, like, 9 times out of 10, the words relating to travel in Indonesian are just, like, borrowed straight from English. And that's not a bad thing. That's just how language works. They tend to borrow from English globally. You think it'll work? Yeah. So, like, for example, I could say tourist, right? And I could even say tourist in an Indonesian accent, and it turns out that that's literally the word is turis, just without a T at the end, but you don't ever have the T at the end. So, like, if I don't know, I just say turis. It kind of involves, like, what is it that Kyla and Raura were joking about today? Cultural appropriation. Like, I am sorry that it does kind of involve a little bit of appropriation, because you have to do an accent. That's the whole point. You have to do it in that accent so that it's easier to understand, and so that you happen to land on the word occasionally. Like, again, I'm sorry. That's how the thing works. The strategy. You guys think Kylo went to sleep? Are other people streaming? None of the other Pomalo I know of are streaming. I know Imadoki-san was streaming last night. For me. For you guys, I think it was during the day. Schnoop. In fact, I know it was during the day, because it was for me last night. But as far as I know, out of the Pomalo that I know that stream, none of them are streaming. And that is good, because I don't like competing for viewership, and if I ever found out that one of them was streaming, I would just say, that's okay, you guys go ahead and stream, I will turn my stream off. I have done that a few times in the past. Not as much lately, admittedly. I'm in a really dangerous position with these dudes. Okay, that's a little better. Star spam is also really good with Regent, because even if you don't get a billion stars for whatever it's called, you can still get a lot of stars for stuff like this. And star cards tend to be kind of cheap. Anyway, I was saying in Spanish, should I have lime Takis? Should I have jalapeno Takis? Should I have spicy Cool Ranch Doritos Takis, Doritos Dinamita, or hot honey pizza Doritos, which are really weird. What happened with Pomalo and streaming? For me, this is never before told lore, so for me, I was kind of streaming and looking for a reason to get back into it for a while. You can go to my channel and find some really old vids from before I even knew Kyla. Before I think even Kyla existed. Technically, my channel's older than her. Sorry, I'm just, like, better that way, I guess. I don't know. But I've never wanted to be a streamer. What I want to do is record my League practices mostly, and other things that I might end up doing, but usually it's my League practices. But the problem arose that, number one, I wasn't actually practicing, I was literally just playing League, and that, like, felt bad and it weighed on my mind, so I just, like, never adjusted properly, if that makes sense. I never adjusted mentally to, like, I'm just streaming to stream because whatever. But then when I got actually into practice, I said, okay, I want to stream. Side note, this was also about when Kyla was on one of her breaks. I don't remember which one, but she was on one of her breaks. And I was thinking to myself, I want to at least stream because I know that she can't, and I've been looking for a way to get back into it. I don't remember which break it was. But if you like go back in my Twitter, I'm not expecting you to, but if you did go back in my Twitter and look at those times, there's like me saying, "Oh, Kyla's not streaming today, so I will." Part of that was because every single one of my followers, essentially, not all of them, but pretty much every single one of my followers is Pomelo. So, you know, if I'm advertising a stream, then, you know, it's usually to a Pomelo, so I might as well just mention Kyla, right? Because I'm talking to Pomelo, why would I not mention Kyla to Pomelo? Anyway, but also, I would see Shadow's stream and say, hey, that's kind of cool, I could do that too. So part of it is actually because of Shadow, part of it is because of Kyla, part of it is because I wanted to anyway, and then part of it is because I don't actually see myself as a streamer, and I never have, and I probably never will. I see myself as a League of Legends collegiate professional who wants to go actual professional, who can't unless he practices a lot, and so he practices a lot. And it's easier to do so on stream than it is to do alone. I don't think that's enough. Yeah, it's not. Oh wait, yeah, that is. Nice. So yeah, a chunk of it's because Kyla's not streaming. A chunk of it's because I saw Shadow was and I wanted to do something similar. A chunk of it's because I don't feel like I'm streaming, and so why am I streaming Slay the Spire 2 then, might be your question. And then I say, well, Kyla, again, she, I think I was getting my first character up to Ascension 10, and I told her about it. And I don't remember exactly what inspired me to actually start streaming it because of that specifically, but basically that scenario was like, I'm just gonna stream it. Maybe I'm streaming for Kyle, I guess. Is that weird? I guess I'm weird. Not the League, though. The League saw me. No one else. So I do like when she comes by. I mean, I would like if she comes by either way, because she has for League before, twice. And that has been fun, too. Turns out, she's kinda just a fun gal. And by kinda, that's like... The kinda part is sarcasm. She's a fun gal to be around. I think this is doable. Never mind. Well, new run. I only know about 2 Pomelo that stream. It's like, I mean, aside from me, I guess. So 3. And it's Shadow and Imadoki-san. Is she Japanese? I just kind of assumed that she was, because she knows a lot of Japanese, and she, well, people call her Sun, too. So my thought was, like, she's a Japanese artist. Maybe Japanese Indonesian. Is that common? I know you have a lot of Chinese Indonesian. I don't know too much about Indonesia, if I'm being honest. But I do know that there's a decent chunk of Chinese Indonesian, because I think Senate told me once that there's like a whole nomenclature for it. But is Imadoki-san, like, Japanese? I very rarely see either of them in my streams, so I haven't had the chance to just, like, ask her or Shadow. And I think Shadow wouldn't know, but I guess I could just DM either of them. But then we're reaching into anxiety territory, like, why would I randomly DM Imadoki-san for the first time literally ever? Just to say, hey, by the way, are you Japanese? Like, that could come off as a little rude, you know, and I don't want to come off as rude. I'm so deathly afraid of coming off as rude that I never, like, DM Pomalo. I'm in Pomalo servers on Discord. I don't DM. I don't interact. I'm so deathly afraid of just messing something up that I just don't talk ever. Which is kind of objectively funny because I'm a yapper. Just should be obvious that I yap a lot. We're gonna try the spicy Cool Ranch. Why not? Would you believe it's not spicy at all? It's also really, really corny. Like corn, not like... Okay, I kind of get a kick. I breathed it down the wrong pipe. Okay, it kicks when you breathe it down the wrong pipe. It's really not spicy, I promise. But if you try to breathe it, and it gets into your, what do they call the... What is the official name for the passage adjacent to the esophagus that leads into the lungs? The trachea. I got jalapeno dust in my trachea. That kind of hurts. We're never doing that again. I'm sure we'll do it again. Anyway, yeah. I'm like tremendously shy. So I'm so scared of offending people that enter chat up to and including the amazing, wonderful Oshi herself. It's not necessarily helped by the fact that I have a delay on my side. I have like 30 seconds before my stream catches up to me. At least on my phone. I'm here. This is how far behind I am. 30 seconds before my stream catches up to me. You see how far behind I am? At least on my phone. I'm here. 30 seconds before my stream catches up to me. So it's about 30 seconds. Usually I pause it. But yeah. Yeah, so any amount of anxiety I get interacting with people is compounded by the fact that I have this like massive delay between when I say anything and when they respond. When they even hear it, and then more of a delay before they respond. We're gonna hold on to our money. So yeah, any amount of interaction that I have with anybody, especially, I mean, I don't know if she's here. If she's hearing this, then she might be secondhand embarrassed for me, but especially when it comes to Kyla showing up in chat, I'm like, oh shit. Anytime I say literally anything, I like mentally start to freak out. Except for one time, but I won't say the one time. There was only one time I felt like I wasn't potentially, maybe, possibly saying things that could be interpreted as annoying. Enjoy your rest. Oh. Sorry, this is my breakfast. I should have said that. I know, it's very healthy. It's kind of all I got right now. Anytime I think about someone on stream eating chips, I'm reminded of a long time ago. No, maybe not a long time ago. I'm reminded of some times when Kyla's eating chips on stream, and you can see her model's like mouth moving, and it looks very much like real, you know? You can see the mouth going. The tracking is really good on HoloLive. I think she's behind like a generation or two of facial tracking software. I think she said. But even it's really good. Not a good run. By the way, not a fan of these Doritos Dinamita Cool Ranch. But I'm also not a fan of throwing away food. So we're stuck here. Okay. Well. Missed lethal because I didn't count again. Sure. One of those, but I don't think I'd take any more. It's 49. Sure. Ow. Common cards suck, especially in this character. Sucks that 7 stars was right on the bottom. Oops. I dropped my phone. Cool. That wasn't hard. Seems like a bad idea. But I need 3 elites. Like this act. The sword might ruin the run, sorry. I also need some of the really broken star makers. And I got none right now. That was a mess up. I should have taken the other one. Because I need more attacks. I think this is okay. I don't think I'm allowed to attack this turn though, unless, hold on. It's only 70. In fact, I don't think I'm allowed to attack again this combat until I reach... Oh, that sucks. Never mind. He doesn't attack this turn. I just really hope. I think that's enough. Arg! Barf. I stayed up really late last night. Maybe I should just take a nap or something. Nice. Ring ding 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 ding. Excuse me. That was a tough combat. Kinda falling asleep. Fuck. Yeah. Youch. Nice. Orbit is definitely a hear me out card right now, but hear me out. Take a lot of damage. I think I have to call it, man. I don't want to, but I should. I'm trying not to burn myself out while I'm still a little sick. That's actually what I was going to ask Kyla about. But, if she's not here, I don't want to bother. Ow. We got, like, one decent run in. What am I saying? We didn't even beat Ascension 2. Or not Ascension, Act 2. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. That looks right. My best win rate is one of those two. That also looks about right. have unlocked all ascensions. My goal that I set out to do originally has finished. Alright. Peace out.